Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and on this video tonight I am going to be giving you a preview for the Chelsea-Liverpool game at Stamford Bridge in the FA Cup 5th round, tomorrow night 8:15 kick-off. Now of course this is the first meeting between Chelsea and Liverpool in the FA Cup since the 2012 final, when of course Chelsea did beat Liverpool by 2-1. Of course, Liverpool have already beaten Chelsea twice this season. They're beating them in the league earlier on in the season by 2-1 at Stamford Bridge. They also, did beat them in the Super Cup. So recently, Liverpool have had a good record against Chelsea. Definitely in that. Chelsea progressed to the 5th round of the Cup by beating Nottingham Forest in the 3rd round. And of course, they did beat Hull City in the 4th round. Liverpool did progress to the 5th round of the Cup for the first time under Jurgen Klopp by beating Everton in the 3rd round 1-0. They beating Shrewsbury in the 4th round. Obviously, they played their under-23s against Shrewsbury. So that's how both teams, did progress to the 5th round of the competition. But this game is actually, hard to predict, because it's going to be interesting to see how Jurgen Klopp, approaches this game against Chelsea. I do believe he's going to play some of the inexperienced players, but I also do believe he's going to play some of the senior players as well as Jurgen Klopp. Now, I am going to give you some team news building up to the game. The positive for Liverpool is that Joe Gomez is now back. Joe Gomez did miss Liverpool's 3-0 defeat to Watford at the weekend, so he's now back. James Milner is now back fit. He's regained full fitness because he's missed Liverpool's last 2 games. I think James Milner has had a muscle injury. Also, too, Jurgen Klopp has confirmed that Harvey Elliott, will not be playing any part in this game. But I do believe the likes of Curtis Jones, Nico Williams, maybe LaRouche, maybe Van der Berg, they also, could be involved in the game. So yeah, Liverpool, will play some of their inexperienced players, because, the FA Cup isn't a priority for Liverpool. But on the other hand, Liverpool have not won the FA Cup since 2006, which is around 14 years ago. Liverpool's absentees are Nathaniel Klein, he's still out with injury. Also, too, Shaqiri is still out. Naby Keita as well has just recently sustained an injury, so he won't be playing any part in the game. Jordan Henderson, of course, is out with injury. Don't forget, he came off in Liverpool's 1-0 defeat to Atletico Madrid in the last 16 of the Champions League first leg. I think he's due sometime back this month, is Jordan Henderson. So like I mentioned, Liverpool have had a lot of injuries this season. So he will make changes from Liverpool's 3-0 defeat to Watford, definitely. I did say, didn't I, before, he may play a similar team to as he did do against Shrewsbury in the first match, to be quite honest with you. Some of Chelsea's team news, they've also got a lot of injuries of Chelsea. Christensen will not play any part in this game, that's been confirmed. Also, to Tammy Abraham, I think he's Chelsea's top scorer. He's out with an ankle injury, so he won't be playing any part in the game. I think N'Golo Kante is still out for them. Christian Pulisic is out. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek has recently been out with injury for Chelsea. So Chelsea, have had a lot of injuries this season, definitely that. And, it's really seemed to have a bad effect on Chelsea, with the injuries, they've currently had. So, that is the team news and that. I do probably believe that Liverpool will stick with the 4-3-3 formation, because, they look very expansive with that 3-4-3 formation, and it seems to suit their standards, does that 4-3-3 formation. So they will stick with that formation, will Liverpool. But yeah, so it's going to be really hard to predict. Obviously, the league is a priority for Liverpool. Liverpool only need 4 wins from their 10 remaining games to clinch their first ever Premier League title. So they are going to end their 30-year drought. Liverpool did lose to Watford at the weekend by 3-0. You did see a match reaction for that game. Of course, that's Watford have become the first team to beat Liverpool this season in the Premier League. And their last defeat in the Premier League prior to the Watford game was to Manchester City last season. I think it was back in January 2019 when they did lose by 2-1. It was goals actually, from Ismail Assar. He scored both of them, and Troy Deeney had scored the third. But Liverpool were dreadful at the weekend against Watford. And I was surprised that loss because, I did expect, Liverpool to beat Watford because, Watford are facing a relegation battle. But on the other hand, I did say, they do look a better team under Nigel Pearson than do Watford. Yes, they're doing that. But yeah, they become the first team to beat them this season. Of course, Watford have ended Liverpool's 44-match unbeaten run. From a Liverpool perspective, they would have been disappointed with the result. Doesn't change out in terms of the title, but they'd have still been disappointed because if they had beaten Watford, then, they would have made history because it would have been their 19th straight win in the Premier League. And because obviously, they did go on an 18-game winning run. So actually, they did match Manchester City's record, did Liverpool. But they still did well to go on a 44-match unbeaten run. Liverpool, of course, are not now going to become the Invincibles. I thought they was going to. I thought they was going to become the second team to go undefeated in the Premier League era. From an Arsenal perspective, they'll be very, very delighted, that Liverpool are not going to go undefeated now all season because they're the only team to go undefeated at Arsenal. But I still believe Liverpool will get at least 100 points this season, probably more than 100 points. So, in that aspect, they will break Manchester City's record from a couple of years ago. And it would have been their 27th top flight victory if they'd have beaten Watford and Liverpool. But games are coming up thick and fast for Liverpool. They've registered 79 points in 28 games. That's still absolutely magnificent. But I think since they've come back, Liverpool, they haven't been the same. I don't think they've performed well in the last 3 to 4 games. They wasn't good against Watford. I think they only registered 1 shot on target. They wasn't good, against West Ham. They was lucky to beat West Ham. They had to come from behind. From behind to beat West Ham. They was dreadful in the first leg against Atletico Madrid. They didn't register 1 single shot on target against Atletico Madrid in the first leg. Did Liverpool, and that was only the second time they failed to register a single shot on target under the Jurgen Klopp era. And Jurgen Klopp has managed around 250 odd games for Liverpool since he got recommended in, and of course now I think Jurgen Klopp is in his 5th season with Liverpool. I definitely can see him minimum seeing his contract out at Liverpool. He has got a contract with Liverpool until 2024 as Jurgen Klopp, and because he extended his contract earlier on in the season. So if he does see out his contract, like I do think he will, like I've just mentioned, I think that will, when he does see out his contract, that will take him to around 9 years or something with Liverpool, because he's already been there for a good 4 or 5 years now and that. And when he does eventually leave Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, I think he'll probably, make a return back to Germany. I still believe Liverpool, by the way, will beat Atletico Madrid in the second leg at Anfield because, like I've mentioned, Anfield is a fortress. They haven't lost at Anfield for almost 3 years. So I do believe, they will overcome that 1-goal deficit in the second leg because, like I put into the equation, Atletico Madrid are really, really struggling. Obviously, they haven't been the same team since Griezmann left. Don't forget Diego Godin left, who was a long-serving centre-half for them. They've had a lot of injuries of Atletico Madrid, and Diego Simeone has been under a bit of pressure. He has been a long-serving manager at Atletico Madrid. I think he's been there now around 8.5 years. But I do believe Liverpool will progress into the last day of the competition because, like I mentioned, Liverpool have got a good pedigree in the Champions League. In the English clubs, Liverpool are the most successful team in the Champions League because Liverpool, of course, have won 6 and they did win the Champions League last season, did Liverpool. And I don't think it was good against Norwich either the other week. They only beaten Norwich by 1-0 at Carrow Road. Mane had come off the bench to score. But again, Liverpool weren't good in that game. So they haven't been the same recently of Liverpool, but they have still been grinding out results. I can probably see Liverpool losing another game this season. They have still got tough games coming up. They've still got to go to City in April away from home. They've still got to go to the Emirates. They've still got to play Chelsea in the league at home at Anfield. But it doesn't matter because Liverpool are going to win the league anyway. They're sitting 22 points in front of Manchester City. Definitely in that. But with Chelsea, they've also been very, very inconsistent this season themselves. They've been in a bad run of form recently. So from a Chelsea perspective, they'll be hopeful that they can progress to the quarter-final of the FA Cup. And they are actually, a really good FA Cup team, are Chelsea, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Chelsea, of course, dropped points at the weekend against Bournemouth. They drew 2-2. So that's opened up the top 4 race even more now. Of course, they got humiliated against Bayern Munich last week in the last 16 of the Champions League. You know, they're 3-0 down from the first leg, so they've got to go to, you know, the Allianz Arena and, you know, win 4-0. But I definitely don't see that happening. So I think Chelsea are out of the Champions League. Chelsea have only won the Champions League once in their history, and I think that was under Villas-Boas. You know, they lost to us at Stamford Bridge by 2-0. That was our first win at Stamford Bridge, by the way, since 2012 in the Premier League. So they have been in a bad vein of form of Chelsea, but like I mentioned, they have had a lot of injuries. Of course, Frank Lampard has got his first signing on the board, like I mentioned to you a couple of weeks ago. They are going to get Hakim Ziyech in the summer from Ajax. I think they've paid around £30 million for him, and I do believe he will be a great addition to Chelsea's team, will Hakim Ziyech, but probably Chelsea do need more signings. For my own perception, I don't think Chelsea have been the same team since they let Eden Hazard go last summer to Real Madrid. Obviously, Eden Hazard was a long-serving player for Chelsea. He enjoyed around 6 or 7 years with Chelsea, did Eden Hazard. But I don't think they should have got rid of him. Chelsea had looked at it from a financial point of view and gone, you know, look, he was a good player for us, but we've generated a lot of money from his departure. You know, Chelsea have had a lot of problems before and that. You know, obviously they did have that transfer ban at one point, but Chelsea Football Club did manage to get that transfer ban overturned. Maybe Chelsea will also consider getting rid of players in the summer. Now, I think this is, by the way, Jurgen Klopp and Frank Lampard's third meeting, is it, as managers? Because, like I mentioned, Jurgen Klopp's now into his, 5th season with Liverpool. This is only Frank Lampard's first season as Chelsea manager. And for my own perception, I don't think, you know, Lampard is the right manager, you know, to elevate Chelsea forward, despite the fact that he knows the traditions of Chelsea Football Club. He was a great long-serving player for them for 13 years. Was Frank Lampard, their all-time leading goal scorer with 211 goals. And he was a very, very good player, but I just think he's too inexperienced as a manager. And I've got the exact same perception on our manager, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's also inexperienced as a manager. But he's got more experience than Solskjaer's got more experience than Lampard, because Lampard only began his managerial career last season with Derby. To be fair though, he did progress Derby to the playoff final, did Frank Lampard. You know, this is, you know, what Frank Lampard did. But, you know, Chelsea, you know, have had a lot of managers in a short period of time, like I mentioned. You know, obviously they got rid of Maurizio Sarri at the end of last season, despite, you know, the fact Chelsea won the Europa League last season. That got them automatic qualification for the Champions League. They also progressed to the League Cup final last season. Chelsea made a mistake by getting rid of Antonio Conte, because he did win the Premier League in his first season. You know, they got rid of Jose Mourinho, something to do with the club doctor. Jose Mourinho had 2 spells with Chelsea. Obviously, they got rid of Gus Higgins, Di Matteo, Villas-Boas, Avram Grant, Scarali, Carlo Ancelotti. So Chelsea have had a lot of managers, like I mentioned, in a short period of time. I think, analysing it in the last 4 or 5 years, Chelsea have sacked more managers, you know, than what my club Man United have sacked, because we've sacked 3 managers since the Alex Ferguson era. So take that into account and that. You know, and that. But I'm going to actually, you know, it is hard to predict, but I'm going to have to predict on it. I think it's probably going to be a draw at Stamford Bridge, and I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. Then I think it'll probably, you know, go to a replay at Anfield. That's what I think, you know, is going to happen, definitely. This is, you know, what I think is going to happen. But like I mentioned, Jurgen Klopp is the best manager that Liverpool have had in this generation. He is the best manager that Liverpool have had in this generation. And like I mentioned, you know, Liverpool have had a lot of good managers up and down the generations. You know, I think Brendan Rodgers did well for them. You know, he enjoyed one good season with them. Brendan Rodgers nearly won the league with them in that season. You know, Liverpool were unlucky not to win the league last season because they finished on 97 points last season, did Liverpool. You know, they also had Rafa Benitez that did good for them. Kenneth Dalglish was a good player but wasn't the right manager for Liverpool. Roy Hodgson was a poor manager for Liverpool. But not only have they had good managers up and down the generations, they've also had a lot of good players up and down the generations of Liverpool. And, you know, like I mentioned, this is probably the best Liverpool team I have seen in Premier League history. Probably is the best Liverpool team I have seen in Premier League history. Probably the best Liverpool team I've seen since they had the likes of Coutinho, Suarez and, you know, Daniel Sturridge under the Brendan Rodgers guidance. But I think probably this Liverpool team is as good as our team, that we had back in 1999, of course, when we did win the treble, because I think actually Liverpool have registered as many points as, our team did, back in 1999 and that. But, Liverpool are still regarded as one of the best teams in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. In terms of the transfers, Liverpool, as you all know, are making plans for the summer. They have got quite a few players on their agenda who they could go in for. Takuma Minamino, he's the player they did sign in January. By the way, he could be in line to start in this game against Chelsea, Minamino, because he does tend to start in the cup games as Minamino. He did actually come on in the Watford game, Minamino, but I think he'll get more opportunities going into next season, realistically. But Liverpool only paid just over £7 million to him from Red Bull Salzburg. But the players on their agenda, as you all know, Timo Werner, they've been long admirers of him. Timo Werner's come out and said, he wants to join Liverpool. That's his preference if he does leave RB Leipzig. But there's only one element of concern from a Liverpool perspective. He ain't going to get in the team week in, week out unless Liverpool do sell one of their attacking trio, which I definitely can't see happening this summer. They've been in for Sancho. Obviously, Kai Havertz is on their agenda. But on the other hand, Liverpool are definitely going to get rid of players this summer, because there's some players in that Liverpool team that are not getting opportunities week in, week out. Prime example, Shaqiri, he's not getting his opportunities. Origi, he's not really getting his opportunities. They are backups, Origi and Shaqiri. Nathaniel Klein doesn't get in the team and he's injury prone anywhere. Trent Alexander-Arnold is first choice ahead of Nathaniel Klein. Dejan Lovren, I don't understand why he started against Watford. I think it was because of the injury to Joe Gomez. That's the only main explanation why he started. That was his first start since December the 7th, Dejan Lovren. But you've got a lot of Liverpool fans that have been criticising Dejan Lovren. Matip, he's a good backup. He's a good backup. Is Joe Matip to the likes of Gomez and Van Dijk. So he's a backup in that. He's a centre half backup. He's Joe Matip. I think they'll move him on in the future, but probably not in the summer. I think Adam Lallana will definitely leave Liverpool at the end of the season. I think he's set to leave on a free. Is Adam Lallana. But yeah, so they'll probably get rid of around 4 or 5 players. Will Liverpool in the summer. They'll get rid of around 4 or 5 players, will Liverpool. But obviously, they'll want to make more investment without a shadow of a doubt. Yes, they currently will. And like I mentioned, Liverpool have spent, £460 million since Jurgen Klopp got recommended in. That's nowhere near to the extent of what Man City have spent or what my club Man United have spent. So it just proves always spending big on players and getting them Galactico players doesn't always guarantee you success. It really, really doesn't in that. And look at the position Liverpool are in. And they've been very sensible with their recruitment, to be fair. Their most expensive signings, obviously Virgil van Dijk, £75 million. Second most expensive centre-half in the world. He's been instrumental to their success since his arrival from Southampton back in 2018. PFA Player of the Year last season, was it, or season before. Premier League Player of the Season, reflecting on his good run of performances. Very, very good player is Virgil van Dijk. He's not far away now from making a century of appearances for Liverpool in the Premier League. And there's no main explanation why Virgil van Dijk would want to leave Liverpool, because Liverpool are so dominant. And yeah, but very, very good centre half is Virgil van Dijk. $3 million for Andrew Robinson, worth quadruple that now in this at this day and age. Even if Liverpool would sell him in the next 2 years' time, it'd be worth more than the $3 million. Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's been a Liverpool player since the age of 6, as Trent Alexander-Arnold, or 7. And up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Liverpool. At times, he's looked exposed like Andrew Robinson, but Alexander-Arnold's got a record of assists. His crossing's really improved, so I'll credit him for that. They've got a lot of midfielders at Liverpool. You've got Fabinho's done well this season. Enson's, becoming an integral part of Liverpool's team. He's done well this season, but he's out with injury. Chamberlain sustained a few injuries as a Liverpool player, but, he's still doing, really, really well now. He's Chamberlain since he come back from injury. Naby Keita, he's now injured, but wasn't doing too bad. But, he's obviously not first choice. He's Naby Keita. Adam Lallana hasn't been a bad player, just doesn't get in the team enough. Salah hasn't really been clinical enough this season. But, he's still a world-class player overall. Liverpool paid 30-odd million. If Liverpool were to sell him in the next couple of years' time, they'd still get more than the 30-odd million that they paid for Mohamed Salah, definitely. Mane and Firmino have been in much better form than Mohamed Salah this season, but I still think overall they are not better players than Mohamed Salah. So take that into account and that. But, you know, Liverpool are definitely guaranteed one trophy at least this season, and that is the Premier League. When they do win it this season, that will be their fourth major honour under Jurgen Klopp, because they've already won 3 major honours so far under Jurgen Klopp. And I think in total it will be like Jurgen Klopp's 6th or 7th major honour, because, you know, that's including the couple of titles, you know, he won when he was at Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, before he was at Borussia Dortmund, he was at Mainz 05. So Liverpool is only the 3rd club that he is managing in his managerial career. So he hasn't got a fantastic pedigree as Jurgen Klopp. But when Liverpool do win it this season, like I mentioned, it'll be their first ever Premier League title. It'll be their 19th overall, obviously. So that means they'll be one behind us, because we've won 20 titles. In terms of Premier Leagues, though, they'll be still 12 behind us, you know, because we've won 13 Premier Leagues. So take that into account. So yeah, reverting back to what I said, I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw tomorrow between Chelsea and Liverpool and that. But I don't think Liverpool will be too disappointed if they do go out, because, you know, the FA Cup isn't a priority for them. What? Yeah, in a minute. In a minute. In a minute, yeah. In a minute. And, yeah, sorry about that. And, yeah, so I don't think they'll win the Champions League. Maybe Manchester City will win the Champions League. You know, they want to win the Champions League, the Manchester City, because that's the only trophy they haven't won in their history, the Champions League. Pep Guardiola wants to win the Champions League. Don't forget he won it with Barcelona. You know, of course, City outbeating Real Madrid 2-1 from the first leg at the Bernabeu. And that was a historic night for Man City, because that's the first time they've ever beaten Madrid in the Champions League. And now that means in the second leg, Madrid have got to score 3 times and keep Manchester City out, you know, to progress into the last day of the competition and that. So realistically, you know, Manchester City could win the Champions League, because obviously they know they're not going to win the Premier League. City have won the Carabao Cup, so that's their 3rd Carabao Cup on the trot this season. And that's Guardiola's 8th major honour as Manchester City manager. And now I think he's into his 4th year at Manchester City, is Pep Guardiola and that. So I think maybe City for the Champions League, Liverpool for the league, FA Cup, could be us, you know, could be Man United who wins the FA Cup, to be quite honest with you, or maybe Chelsea. And obviously, you know, City have won the Carabao Cup and that. So yeah, so that's your preview for the Chelsea and Liverpool game. I gave you the news, didn't I, earlier on, you know, regarding what, you know, Graham Souness was coming out saying regarding Paul Pogba. He gave his verdict on Paul Pogba. I also give you the news of what Roy Keane had come out and said regarding David De Gea, because he actually, you know, criticised David De Gea for his calamitous mistake that led to that Dominic Calvert-Lewin's first goal in the game yesterday in the 1-1 draw at Goodison Park and that. I give you the update on that earlier on. There's more videos coming up very, very soon, guys, so join me for that. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.